Welcome to another episode of Zombie SquadCAST with your host, MC TechFall, DJ TechFall, whatever you want to call me. I'm internationally known. You know what it is. Unfortunately, my co-host, Glenn Nelson, couldn't be on the set today. So we're with a very special guest today, DJ BALLEW, hailing from Virginia. Yo, what's up?
What's up?
Tell the audience who you are, what you do, and like how you get started in this music thing, producing, DJing, you do the whole nine, you know?
Yeah. Well, I just started DJing like a year ago, so I'm pretty new. And
Okay.
it was like a random thing that just kind of happened. My friend owns a DJ company here, and he was like, I'll teach you how to do it. And I was like, I don't want to. And then he was like, told me how much money you make. And I was like, oh, okay, never mind, I'll learn. I didn't think I would be able to catch on, though, was the only reason. Like, I wanted to do it, but I was like, nah. But then, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And then I've been DJing since, and then I guess the end of July, I started playing around with producing, and that's pretty much it. It's a short
Okay,
story.
so I mean, I've been in production for a long time. Like I started off with some turntables back in the late '90s, I want to say, and then just kind of like I bought a couple records and just like I was hooked like immediately, you know, to that. So that kind of like sparked me up. And then like I checked, I'm like, my buddy gave me a CD, like some drum and bass. I was like, wow, dude, that's awesome, man. So I got hooked on the drum and bass like in the late '90s. Started going to raves out in DC and Baltimore. Like we used to hit up this one spot, man. It was they had this one drum and bass party, man. It was called Bang the Spot over in Baltimore. It was off of Boston Street. So like I hit up that party, man, and was like met up all these drum and bass heads, man, and got hooked up that way. And like we used to go to people's houses, man, and like everybody, like people had a pair of decks and was just like spinning drum and bass. So that's pretty much how I got hooked. And I was like, joined the military, did that thing, hooked up with some producers out there that were doing music. And then when I got out, I started producing, bought some equipment. I had a Korg Triton, was like my first piece of equipment that I bought. I bought a sampler with it. I was like, okay, I can do this. And started rocking out, moved in a basement spot in Baltimore City. This dude, he had a drum set downstairs in the basement and like a bass guitar. And like I hooked up my turntables, man, and we just started rocking. And started hooking up with other DJs in the neighborhood. They had this spot called Shorty's Nightclub. It was like a martini bar, but it was cool though because it was hip for like local DJs, you know, like you could just go up to the spot, bring your records and just spin whatever you want. You know, like Charles Feelgood owned the spot. You know, he's a big house DJ from Baltimore City. So big ups to Charles Feelgood. He's still doing his thing out in California, because he was DJing out at the Paradox in Baltimore City at the time. So he opened up that spot, and like it was cool, man. I shot a music video in there. Like I was real cool with the owner because it was right around the corner from where I live. So we would just go up there like every night, and that's how I met up a lot of people in like this is before like the EDM era, you know what I'm saying? Like, because Baltimore was like a big house city, you know, like they really dug house music, was like a big thing in Baltimore before the whole EDM era even occurred. Like before like dubstep or, you know, your bass house, stuff like that in that genre that goes. So like from me, like house music was dope because I knew a lot of people that were DJing house music, and then like I would go to all these different house parties, and like I was a big graffiti head, so like I always knew like different graffiti artists around Baltimore, and that's pretty much how I got hooked up in the scene, was just knowing a bunch of people and just going to these different house parties and just rocking it, you know. So yeah, yeah. So the music was just like it was for me, it was therapeutic, you know, like it really vibed with what I had in Baltimore. That like the city like grew on me, you know. I'm not from Baltimore, but I came out there like and just met like a, the most genuine people, man. Like phenomenal artists, you know, phenomenal DJs, people that were producing, people that were graffiti writers, hip hop heads. It was just like a whole mix of different people, you know. It was just like, it was really cool, you know, because then I would branch out to other cities like Philadelphia, New York, and I would go up there and I'd go party with those people up in New York and in Brooklyn, in Philly, like, so they liked coming out to Baltimore, so it was cool.
It was cool. You knew a lot of people.
Well, I didn't know a lot of people at the time. I met a lot of people when I moved to Baltimore through, like, this one cat that I went to high school with. He actually DJ'd in my neighborhood, and that's how we got hooked up. And then I got hooked up with other people, and I started going to art shows. And like, I mean, I'm from Maryland, so it's like I would run into cats in Baltimore, like cats that I knew, like growing up, you know, like it was just cool, and everybody was like kind of into something, you know, like there was raves going on in different people's houses, like that I would go into, or a warehouse party, you know.
That's dope.
Like you just show up, but you had to know somebody to get in, you know, which was really cool, because they don't really have those parties that much. They're far in between, like they were back in the day than they are now, you know. Now it's blown up, it's mainstream. Like back then, like these DJs weren't making like a killing like they are now. It wasn't, you know, you didn't have your marshmallows and your Skrillex back then, you know. Like that's why I respect, like, Carl Cox is like, he's legit. Like, he's straight up legit, because he's a pioneer and he's been through the rough times, and he's still at the top of his game, you know. You got to respect like the old heads, like Fabio and Groove Rider, you know, Andy C, all them dudes have put in the work, you know, and came up, you know. And they spun off of 2 turntables and a mixer, you know. They didn't have Serato, and they didn't have all this equipment that they have now, you know. Like I'm kind of a vinyl junkie, you know. Like I like to go through I like to go through vinyl and pick out different samples and like put them in a beat machine and then chop them up, you know, and create my own sound. Like that's all it's about. It's finding your own sound and finding your own tune, which makes you a great artist, you know, and being creative. Like, and as far as mixing goes, is that you want to concentrate on like the plugins are where it's at. You know, for me, that's what I learned during music production and stuff like that, is like that's where it's at, as the plugins.
Yeah, right. That's true. Yeah, I wish we had we don't really have, like you were talking about, you met a lot of people where you grew up or came up, I guess. And yeah, we don't have that where I live at all. Or if we do, I don't know the people that know the people, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, it's life experience. Like, I've been around. I lived in Hawaii for about 5 years and got hooked up with some people out there. And I've been to LA and a couple other different places. But, you know, it's just all life experience, what you take into it. That's what makes this music thing so great, because you can take what experiences that you have from life and put it into a track, you know.
It's true.
Like I'm writing a track right now. It's called Rise Above the Madness. So basically, I took some jazz samples, like, 'cause I've always been a hip hop head, you know. Like I said that before. Like I'll make an EDM track or like experiment with a drum and bass track or whatever. But like hip hop is what brought me to here, is what brought me into producing. So I always go back, and I was like, man, I need to make another hip hop track. So I started writing this track, and I was like, and my buddy Glenn was like, man, you need to start rapping again. And people from work are like, man, they all see my videos, they all seen everything that I have online. Like I'm not shy from what I do, you know. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty open to what I do. A lot of people know what I do, so they seen a lot of the work that I've done in the past, and like, man, you need to start rapping again. And I thought about it because I was in the production for so long, and I got inspired kind of by COVID, I would say, kind of inspired me to write this track. So it's called Rise Above the Madness. It's talking about like rising above all the drama that's been going on politically and with COVID, and just rising above the negativity, man, and just going with it, you know, being inspired, and just rising above it, and just take something and just being positive, you know. Like I choose to rise above the madness, you know. I don't choose to be sucked into the negative realm, you know.
I like that.
So that's what that track's all about. And like I'm producing the whole thing and doing my own lyrics and mixing and mastering the whole joint.
That's awesome.
So yeah, you know, you just gotta rise above it.
Yeah.
And I like what you're doing, you know. You're like how we got connected was through Instagram, you know, because we're both producers and musically inspired people. So for the audience who doesn't know, like that's how me and DJ BALLEW kind of got hooked up, was through IG, which I've hooked up with a lot of people on IG. Some people came on my show from IG. So I got a lot of respect for the social media realm. It's been a blessing, especially during this COVID. Like
Yes.
I did a couple live DJ performances. I did a couple comedy gigs that were live. So I'm like kind of blessed during this COVID. I choose to rise above it and be creative during this quarantine, you know, because everybody's got to be safe for one thing, and you know.
Yeah. Quarantine, it sucks, but I am enjoying the live streams though, like from everyone. I've watched so many since all this started, but I have not done one yet. I probably should, but
Well, you're on here today, so
yeah. I don't have my stuff hooked up though right now. It's all put away.
no,
Next
it's all
time.
good. I wouldn't have you do a live stream on
Oh, I was like, I mean, yeah. No, I like what you said about the whole social media hooking people up, because I've met a lot of people too. It's really cool.
Yeah, you'll be surprised of like how many
Yeah.
people I've talked to that are musicians that are doing it. We had a guy on our show recently. It was a couple weeks ago, and like he was doing virtual concerts, and like he was a real interesting individual to talk to. Like a pretty dope jazz musician and hip hop producer. So it was fun, like talking to him about like all his virtual concerts and stuff like that. So then we had also another guy from Alabama. Was really cool to talk to as well. Like he's doing some hip hop and stuff like that. His name is Have Not Jones. So big out to Have Not Jones. You know, watch out for Have Not Jones coming out in 2021. So big shout out to him. Yeah, and Brandon Minks. Yeah, big shout out to Brandon Minks. So doing this thing out in Indianapolis, Indiana. So thanks for being on the show, brother. So yeah, what are your plans for the future, or how have you been impacted by COVID? So just elaborate on those things for me.
Well, I think I picked the wrong year to start DJing as a career. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. Like I was getting parties, and I've done like a few like parties for businesses and house parties, but that's pretty much it this year.
Okay.
I'm hoping that next year it'll be back to normal-ish and I can do like more with it, but yeah. business is bad this year. It was good last year when I started learning though, but halfway through, yeah.
So how do you like it so far?
I mean, I think it's fun.
I mean, it's a lot to learn. It's a lot to take in.
It is a lot. It is a lot.
Like I get books, like, because I got so many different programs, it's hard to keep up with the Joneses. So,
Yeah.
like my advice is to stick with one thing and one thing only and go with it. Like I use Machine. Like I started off on an MPC. Before the Cork Triton, I bought an MPC. So like I was rocking out on an MPC 4000. So I had that joint for a while, and I was just inputting samples and cutting up records and putting it in that joint. When I saw Machine, I was like, oh shit, this shit's like a couple $100. I was like, it's a lot easier than the MPC. So I sold the MPC. Like I got rid of a whole ton of equipment that I had. Like I downsized everything, got rid of stuff. You know, I was like, it was hard times. I was broke.
Yeah.
So I had to sell all my equipment and then like basically start from scratch. You know, I just had a point in my life where I had to get rid of everything. Like luckily, I still have a lot of the records, you know, from the past, and I'm in a better place now. So I upgraded some stuff, and I was working with Machine like right when it came out, and I was like, oh, this is pretty dope. And I've just been rocking it out ever since. And then I was with Pro Tools for a while. Now I work with Logic, so I'm still learning Logic, but you know, there's always tutorials and books that you can buy.
Yeah.
To enhance the learning curve.
It's true. Pretty much everything I learned was from my friend that taught me. His name's Tyrone. And then also just YouTube. But I start school at Berkeley next month. So
That's
hopefully,
awesome.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I'll learn something. I did pick DJing as my elective, so I'm hoping that'll help a lot too. Learn new stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So are you originally from Virginia?
No, I just kind of ended up here.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like born in Florida, and then I lived in Mississippi for a while, and then here, and then I stayed in Memphis a lot, and here again, like back and forth because my parents were divorced. And then I lived in New Jersey very, very briefly, like maybe 4 or 5 months, and then came back. But yeah, I'm planning to move to Philly, hopefully next year.
Yeah, Philly's dope. We like Philly.
Got a lot of family there.
We went up to Philly like a year ago because we also do another show. It's called Sinister Infinite. Like we're on season 3 right now, and we're gonna be shooting in 2021. It was basically a supervillain crime show.
Dope.
So and another show is called Rogues Gallery. So it's DC. The DC universe is Rogues Gallery, and then you have the Marvel universe, which is Sinister Infinite. So we're coming up on season 3. Which brings me to Philadelphia is because we went to Philadelphia to get all these cosplayers. Like we traveled to like different states and filmed different cosplayers for the show. So that's basically why we went up to Philly. But it was cool. It was dope. I liked it, man. It was cool. Like went up to South Street and hung around. It was a lot different than what I'm used to when I was growing up. Like we would go up to South Street and like it was dope. Like you just buy a shit ton of vinyl and it was cool. And like I was telling you on IG, we used to go to that club Shampoo.
Oh yeah.
Shampoo was dope because you know they used to do a phone party on like Saturday nights. And we would go up to Philly and hit one of them joints up.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah, we don't have fun stuff here in Virginia, at least not where I live. It's so lame here.
It would be presumptuous of us to assume that the Earth is the only inhabited planet in the universe.
So what's the next big step?
I guess really Berkeley is my next big step. Starting there, like I said, next month, which is the semester beginning, and I'm learning production and sound design, so hopefully.
That's what I would love to get into, is sound design.
Yeah, I'm excited, a little nervous, but I think it'll be all right. And I've got an EP coming out. I'm hoping in February, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna have it ready in time for that.
Yeah.
Deadline.
So I wanted to talk to you about the track "Blast On," right? Blast Off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that track.
I just made it one day. Literally, my kids were at their dad's, and I found some vocal samples that I really liked, and I was like, I want to do something with these, and that's what happened. That's what came out of that. But
so it just kind of instantaneous that the track got made.
Yeah.
Much.
It was kind of just happened. No cool story behind it or anything, other than I was by myself and was like, hey.
Hey, sometimes this is the best tracks that get made when you're just fiddling around, like fiddling around with some samples, and you're like, oh shit, I could make something pretty dope with that, you know?
Yeah. That's most of me and Chance the Closer's collabs start out like that. We like make a plan, like we'll base our song off of like the key and BPM of like just a random, we'll pick an artist and a song, and then that's what we start with, and then we're like, okay, like build from there, and then that's how all of those have started. But
yeah, that's what's up. Those are the best tracks when you're just sitting there messing around, and like there's a lot of tracks I've made not even trying to make a track.
Yeah.
And I get into it, I'm like, I'm in the zone, you know? And something dope comes out, I'm like, oh shit, like, this is a banger.
Accidental bangers. That's what I do, I guess. A lot of those.
Should make an album called Accidental Bangers.
That's what I should call my EP. I might. But
yeah, definitely. That's cool. Shit, I like it.
Yeah.
So have you been, since during the quarantine, so have you done anything or seen anything or read any books during this quarantine, like anything on Netflix or anything that you've read?
Not really.
Yeah.
I don't really watch a lot of TV, but I've just been doing boring stuff like learning like production tips and DJ tips. That's pretty much all I do. But
there's nothing wrong with that. That's cool.
A little boring.
I mean, it's not boring because you're learning, you know?
Well, yeah.
Nothing's boring if you're interested in it, you know?
That's true.
Like, if you put your focus and your mind into something, I mean, that's not boring. That's like, I think that's pretty cool. Like, okay. Like, I mean, me just sitting around playing on this joint or looking through records, people might be like, oh, that's boring as shit. But I don't see it that way at all, you know?
You're right.
So.
Yeah. My ADHD is too bad to sit and watch a whole movie or a show. It's so bad. I can't ever sit still.
Yeah, I feel you. So when's your next big trip? You going anywhere soon?
I am going to the Sullivan King show for New Year's Eve.
Okay.
But it's gonna be a drive-in, so
it's gonna
probably freeze to death outside, sitting by my car, but it'll be fun.
Oh, I've never been to one of the drive-through events or drive-in events.
I went to the Keizo show in July, and it was actually really cool. I was expecting it to suck, but it was actually, they had like, I don't know, I thought it was gonna be like, the only way you hear it is through your car, so I was like, this is dumb, but I'm gonna go because I love Keizo so much. But they actually had like speakers and stuff, so it was like a little tiny show, but it was kind of cool because it was like smaller, I guess, than going to something big like what they usually would be playing at. So it's a little more intimate, which I like.
Yeah, I mean, the more intimate shows are like the best shows I've ever been to. Like,
I agree.
I think like the best hip hop show I've ever been to was KRS-One, and he was in this little joint in Baltimore, and he had that place rocking, you know? Like, those are the best shows that you can go to. Not these big, massive events or festivals that you go to, you're like, where you can't even move or get up close
I don't like
to the
that.
artist, you know? Like, but we're close enough to like KRS-One where he was giving us daps, you know?
Yeah, I got to meet
Like-
Keizo, which was crazy, because after I thought about it, I was like, wait, this is a pandemic. But I was excited anyway, because like he's my hero. Well, he's one of them. But he's actually a nice person too.
So he got you inspired into making music?
He's one of the people, yeah.
Or
Got
you
a
just
few.
got up one day and was like, man, I'm gonna start making beats?
Nah, I've always wanted to be in music somehow, but I am too shy to do like singing in front of people or to like get up and perform, I guess. So production just kind of made sense. I don't know, I liked watching DJs, you know, for a long time. And I always thought I wanted to do something like that, but it was like, I don't know how to DJ. So like, you know, but then, you know, I learned. It just kind of accidentally happened.
I know, that shit happened for a reason.
Well, yeah, but it just kind of
Everything happens for a reason.
wasn't planned.
I mean, I wasn't planning to still doing this as long as I have been doing it, but I'm blessed to still be here doing it. And, well, here we are, 2020, during the pandemic, still crushing it. You know? So you gotta be blessed with that.
It's true.
So I'll rewind this track back I just made. I'll let you listen to it a little bit.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me play the joint, see what you think. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
This is called the Rise Above the Madness. I haven't laid down the lyrics yet. This is just an instrumental.
I'm digging it.
Yeah, I did this joint during the pandemic a couple weeks ago.
It kind of like at the beginning reminded me of Hey Arnold, but in a good way. But Hey Arnold had a lot of jazz like in it, so that's probably why.
Yeah, I like jazz. I got a lot of jazz records. Like, so when I hear some cool jazz, I'll make a beat out of it.
That's dope.
You know? Like I like Guru's Jazzmatazz from Gangstar. Started up back in the day. R.I.P. the late Guru. Big shout out to Guru from Gangstar. You know, like he was so dope. So he formed his own band called Jazzmatazz back in the day. Like it was like kind of like a jazz hip hop band.
That's dope.
So I get inspired by different artists and kind of started messing around with the samples, and that's how I came up with this beat. And that's pretty much how it came together.
It's dope. I like when people mix stuff that you wouldn't think should mix. If that makes sense. Like
As long as it sounds right and you have the right like jazz type instruments and you know music,
Yes.
then it will work. Like I know I'm not like a jazz guru, but I know enough about music where like, okay, I need I need a snare on this joint right here, you know, like, or I need this type of drum on this, because there's thousands of samples I could go through to pick from, and like to get the right drum samples. You know, and you gotta kind of pick like live instruments. I have a lot of live instruments in my catalog. Like these are a lot of live instruments on this part right here.
Yeah, they sound
like that's like
legit.
That's like a straight up real kick drum. You know, you can tell.
Yep.
Because it's already got a little bit of reverb. Like you don't even really have to add too much reverb to the drum. And then you can add a little bit of reverb to the horns and harmonic exciters, you know, on those joints to make it bang, to make it really pop. So that's the beauty about music. Like when you start getting into production and mixing it down and adding all these plugins and stuff, it's like it's dope. Cool.
Yeah.
So were you going to festivals and stuff before COVID?
No. I always wanted to, but I used to be like, I was married for 10 years. So
okay.
I didn't really get out much because I didn't really have anybody to watch the kids, and I was doing the whole like wife mom thing. And when I left my ex-husband, I was like, I'm gonna do all this stuff I wanted to do. And I actually bought tickets to go to Marshmello and Lost Lands this year. And of course they both got canceled, and I was so upset because I was gonna finally get to go do cool stuff. And I was really, really mad. And I like had even gotten the upgraded like VIP where I could meet Marshmello and everything. So that was sad, but there's always another year.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's gonna come back. I mean, it's gotta give it time. I mean, it will. I mean, there's gonna be restrictions, but
yeah. I don't know if I mind restrictions. Partially. I like people standing 6 feet from me. It's nice. You have more room to like headbang, you know? Not like bumping into everybody. And nobody's like stinky right up on top of you, so.
Oh, I've been to those parties.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Not a good look.
Especially in the summertime.
Ugh.
It's like the worst.
Yeah. PTSD. Yeah.
Oh, those are the things I don't miss, you know?
Yeah, I don't miss it. I'm like, can we keep restrictions on personal space bubbles? Because I like that. I'm like the worst DJ. I'm like, stay back.
Like DC, they used to close that joint at 6 in the morning. Like, people rolling that joint messed up. It was crazy.
I miss like going out. I have not been out since March. Like out. I've gone to the store and like to see friends, but
yeah, just out and about.
Yeah, like going out with friends, drinking. I miss that. I'm ready for that to happen.
I think everybody misses that.
Not everybody, because there's people still going, but you know, that's just making things worse because it's spreading that crap around. And then making more shutdowns.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's been
lame.
No, it's just been it's been crazy, like how the second wave just hit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's coming from a different strand of COVID. You know, so I just took the vaccine. I took one portion of the vaccine. Yeah, because I'm a first responder in DC.
Dope.
So they gave me the first shot of the vaccine. So I took that this past week.
And look, you're still alive. So
Yeah.
there's people that are like freaking out. There's proof. I'm not interviewing with a ghost right now, so
No, like I'm
good sign.
I'm alive and well. I took the vaccine and I'm still here. I'm on Zombie SquadCAST talking about it.
Oh, you're a zombie though.
how I live from the vaccine, you know.
It's cool though. I'm ready for it to hit so that we can all go back to having a life.
Yeah, I'm really excited for things to get back to normal. I mean, I'm sure everybody is, but it's going to take a while. It's going to take a long time. You got to really get a grip on this thing, and numbers got to go down and stuff like that. But see, it peaked to a crazy level. So
yeah, it got really bad. Well, you're in Virginia too, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So they're like not serving any alcohol past 10 o'clock. Only like 25 people can be in a bar, or 25% capacity.
Yeah.
Something crazy like that. So, I mean, it makes you not even want to go out, to be honest with you.
It's true. Yeah, I was waiting tables when COVID first started, and I was laid off from like March to, I guess I still have a job. I'm not really sure if they let me go or not, but
so you've been severely impacted by COVID-19.
Yeah, all my jobs are jobs that require people. So if you can't gather, like I'm a makeup artist, so if you can't do weddings because people can't gather, or proms aren't happening because people, then you're not really booking anything.
Now
DJing,
are you
can't really
working
book much.
Now are you working from home during this pandemic?
Yeah, I have been. I was teaching homeschool for a friend, and while she worked to her kids, that went on for a while, but then that gig ended because she is not working now because of COVID. So if she isn't working, she doesn't really need me there. So. But
wow, so you've been pretty much impacted a lot during this COVID situation we got going on.
And then my kids are homeschooled, so it's like hard to find something to like go work, you know, because nothing can work around their schedule.
Yeah,
that's the issue I'm having. And I don't like, you know, I'm a single mom, so I don't have like, I can't be like, here, go to, like, your dad can watch you while I work, because he does not live here. So. Yeah,
there's a lot of people out of work right now. There's a lot of people working from home. Like, it's just a very unfortunate time that we're living in right now, you know, during COVID-19, unfortunately. But like I said, you got to find a way to rise above it, and you know, just stay positive, stay focused on whatever you got to do. I mean, I know times are rough right now, and just find some type of avenue to take, or you know, to get through. It's all impacting us in one way or another, you know, whether it's you know, financially destroying us, mentally destroying us, or you know, just taking a toll on our body physically, because it's stressful, you know, like every time you walk out, you're like, oh shit, or somebody knocks on your door, you're like, oh shit, I gotta go run and get my mask, you know. I don't know if this jackass has got COVID or not, you know. Or whoever, you like, the UPS guy shows up, or the Amazon guy shows up, and you don't have a mask on, you know, like, oh, and now you got to worry about if you got COVID because you were interacting with this person. You don't know that dude from Adam.
That's true.
You know, like, you got to safeguard yourself, you know. And I can't say that that I haven't done that. It's like I've been a victim too. Like, okay. Or a suspect. Like, I didn't have my mask on talking to somebody before. Like, it's happened. You know, but you try to abide by the guidelines and try to put a face mask on and be safe and try to be aware of your surroundings, the people that you hang out with. And like during Christmas, we had a Zoom conference, you know, with family members. You know, that was hard, like not seeing our family, like during Christmas time.
We did the same thing.
Right. Like, yeah, opening up presents over Zoom.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was hard. I mean, but, you know, people aren't seeing each other right now. And, like, I'm not one to just hop on a plane. Like, my buddy's been flying all over the place. He's hopping on planes like it's nothing. I'm like, dude, you're crazy.
Nope.
Like, I'm not gonna hop on a plane. Like, I'll drive somewhere, but I'm not gonna drive like 4 states out of the way or something crazy like that. Like, I'm gonna try to stay local, you know, or at least around people that I know.
Yeah, same. Other than going to these shows, which of course they're social distance shows, so like.
So now, I haven't been to one of these drive-in shows. So can you elaborate to the audience, like, what your experience is of these drive-in shows? Because I've always been used to like going to festivals and just mingling in with different people. Now, do they serve alcohol at these things? What's the situation with the concession stands, the food, and the people and the environment? If you could elaborate a little bit for us.
Well, they do not serve alcohol, but it says on the tickets, don't bring any, but I did. And the lady that was working like I want to say gate, but it's not a gate, where you drive through and show them your ticket, was like, if you have any alcohol, just keep it in your car to drink, and don't, like, if you take it out, they'll throw you out. So that was cool. But pretty much just, you can sit in your car and you can play it through your speakers, or you can, like, we brought chairs to the last one I went to and just kind of sat out in front of my car, which we were right up front, which was pretty sick because we got to see everything. But people like really went all out. Like the other people there decorated their cars, brought crazy lights and stuff. Like it was pretty much like a little tiny mini festival, but it was like a little baby one. But yeah, I mean, it's a little smaller. The stage isn't as big, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've never been to one of these drive-in shows before. Like I've seen them advertised on the internet and on IG and Facebook. I was always interested in some of these shows. Like a lot of them, the lineup looks pretty fucking sick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, this shit looks dope, you know? Like, and that's not the only, like EDM's not the only music genre that's doing these things. Like there's a lot of hip hop artists that are doing these. There's also a lot of people doing stuff online too.
Yeah.
There's DJ battles and stuff. Like, I don't know if you saw, it happened a while ago with DJ Premier versus the Jizza from Wu-Tang.
I did not see that.
Like, that was pretty cool. Like, they were basically playing their best tracks, what they produced. And like, there was like 1 million people online like that, you know, that can play the guitar, rock 2 keyboards at once.
Yeah.
You know, and do like, we jammed out to some hip hop. I'm like, dude, I didn't even know you had it in you like that, bro. Because he can play the bass. I'm like, all right, I'll just start freestyling, you know. I'll just spit off the top of the brain and see what we come up with.
Did y'all record it?
Yeah, we recorded it. Like, we didn't put anything on wax, but recorded the audio or the video of it, and then we posted it. It actually came on my feed like the other day. I was like, holy shit! I was like, man, that was like 2 years ago that we did that jam. But it was
I'll have
cool.
to look for it.
Yeah, I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah.
But he's still jamming out on a regular, and like my friends, they were in a funk band back in the day, back in Maryland. Like, so we would just get up on stage and then rock freestyles with like 8 people on stage. Like, they had this bar right down the street, so he played the drums, so he would just kick a beat, and then all of us would just get up there and freestyle. You know, it was cool. It was like, that's what we used to do over at Shorty's over in Baltimore. Like, my buddy used to spin drum and bass, so I would go over there and spit some bars and just freestyle, you know? Or you could just bring records and just spin.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it was definitely a good time. So, I mean, if I could find something like that again, so be it. But I get what you're saying, where, you know, it's hard to link up with people, especially like where you're at in Virginia. Because I know it is here. They have a couple people that do shows and stuff like that, but it's hard to link up with people, you know. Like, trying to link up with you is like pulling teeth, you know. I'll make 3 beats before you even come over here. You know, I think that's how a lot of artists are. You know, a lot of artists like to work with themselves or try to. I mean, unless you're in LA or something, because LA is like an abundance of people like doing EDM. You know, it's like a crazy amount of people. I'm sure it ain't that hard to link up with some people in LA.
No.
Like, to do some music, you know, depending on where you're at. And now, like during COVID, you gotta expand your horizon a little bit and branch out to people, the other people that are doing music and stuff like that, and try to collab. Like, shit, we could work on a track through Zoom. You know, I make a couple beats here, and then you make a couple beats there, and boom, we got a track.
Basically.
Now, do you do vocals as well?
I have not yet. I have a song that I'm working on that I haven't decided if I'm putting it on the EP or not, but I am supposed to record vocals for it, but I am a little nervous. Because I'm not much of a singer, but
I think you got it. I think you got it in you.
Maybe.
We'll see. You just gotta give it a shout.
Now I usually just use samples that I find wherever.
I mean, I use a lot of samples too.
Yeah. It's the easy way.
I mean, unless you reach out to some artists, like if you say you produce a track and you find like a female artist that does vocals, you could bring that person on, or you could send them your track and they could do the vocals and record it and send it back to you. Like, I did that with a person in Los Angeles. Like, she was a vocalist, so I made this hip-hop track, I sent it to her. I said, listen, we're doing a music video here for this track. I laid down the lyrics, I sent it to her. She recorded the vocals and sent that shit back to me.
Dope. See, I found somebody I want to do that with, but I have obviously only been producing for like 3 months or 4 months, so I don't know what I'm doing half the time still, but yeah, I'll have to figure out how that works.
Well, it's actually not as hard as you think it would be. So you basically send them the track, and then they record it, and then you basically take the audio file that they recorded. If it's broken down, if it's tracked out, and then you put it into your system, mix it down, and boom, you got a track. I mean, you probably have to. Me just telling you that, you probably have to look at some tutorials.
Yeah.
But the person on the other end should know what they're doing. If they're recording vocals, because there's vocal tracks, like, because the original track that she sent me was jacked up. It was like a lot of reverb and stuff like that. So you have to kind of get the vocals for that track, mix them down, and make them sound perfect. Yeah. Make them sound perfect. You want them to sound legit.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, you want the vocals to like bump. So, I mean, if they sound good on that end, you know, and you're also mixing it into the track because you have the master track.
Yeah.
So you're taking those vocals in, and say if those vocals, there's 4 tracks on the vocal, right? say there's 4 tracks on the vocal, so you want all 4 of those tracks individualized, and you want those tracks so you can mix them down into your set. And if you have to move them over, like quantize, then you can quantize them so they'll be right on point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my advice to you if you're working with another artist, like say in a different state or in a different country.
I'm not even sure where this guy lives. But he's a really good singer, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth it for you to reach out and say, hey, listen, I want to do some music with you. I think we could make it work. Now, here's the track. You gotta, like I told you, you have to have those tracks tracked out. He's got to send you all those tracks separately. You know?
Now, he's been doing this, so he probably already knows what to do. We've talked about it. I've just been a little nervous because I'm new. I don't want to, like, somebody who's already really good at what they do, I don't want to, like, make them sound like crap. Because
I wouldn't sell yourself short by any means. You know, like, I mean, I've listened to some of your music, and I think you're a phenomenal artist. I think you have a lot of potential. And I really enjoyed having you on the show today, especially, you know, since we have a lot of the same interests, and that's not the only reason why I brought you on the show, but we have a lot of different guests and artists that come on here. So that's our thing, is like we tell the people that are in the music, television, radio, and film business on our show, people that are in the hip hop, people who are in the art. Like, some people aren't in the music at all, but they still want to come on our show.
Yeah.
Like, my brother has no clue of music whatsoever, but we still like to have him on our show. So yeah, it's just really cool to talk to you about music and art and stuff like that. And I know that you said that you're inspiring model.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. You got a lot of potential. I think that you should reach out to more people, more artists, and that's just my take. I mean, the more people you reach out to, the better. Like some guy might be like, dude, your music is fucking super dope. Like, I like it. You know, or somebody might be like, my music fucking sucks. So I'm like, okay.
I like your music from what I've heard so far.
Oh, thank you.
I just like music.
Yeah, it's helped a lot getting through this rough time right now.
It's about the only thing that is always there and stays the same. Even when the world stops.
Hey, I'll still be rolling with the punches and still doing my thing, you know? Like, this podcast is gonna keep rolling, you know? Like Zombie SquadCAST is gonna keep rolling with the punches.
Where'd you come up with the name for that?
So, our name is, we're Zombie Squad. That's the crew. That's what we're with. Like, my buddy, he's military. And I was military. So basically, Zombie Squad goes in and goes after the psychos. So that,
gotcha.
Yeah, that's like, have you ever seen that movie Cobra?
No.
Cobra was with Sylvester Stallone. So he basically goes after psychos, and they're called the Zombie Squad. They're police officers. So also in the movie Narc, with Ray Liotta, he's also part of the Zombie Squad. So that's where we came up with Zombie Squad, and then we came up with the Zombie SquadCAST.
Love that.
So we started this podcast, I want to say maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago. So before COVID, we were doing this, and I was doing a radio show long before this at Towson University Radio in Baltimore County. We had it called Loss Prevention Radio. Because I went to college for TV, radio, and film. So long story short, we were doing that when my buddy was in college. Now it's 2020, and we started that show a while ago, and my other co-host, he does a podcast called Patience the Podcast. You can check that out.
Check it out.
On Woo Management is what his thing is. So Patience the Podcast, he's got a lot of episodes on there. He's got a lot of different guests. So we started this Zombie SquadCAST, and we're up to like 100 and I think you're our 107th guest on our show. So yeah, we've been doing this during the whole quarantine, and then before that we had another show that we had a few episodes on, like maybe 30 episodes. And I had a comedy show online a few years ago. It was called Technological. So it was basically like a Tosh.0 show where I'm standing in front of a green screen and I'm basically clowning viral videos. And that was the whole idea. We kind of stole Tosh.0's
Love that.
whole idea and kind of flipped it into our own, but we made our own show out of it. And I think we shot like 40 episodes.
That's
of that.
awesome.
And then I got a comedy show in New York from that show, because I submitted in that show and they picked me up in New York. So I went out to New York and opened up for a bunch of comedians.
That's awesome.
On a showcase. So yeah, that's pretty much how that went with the whole Zombie SquadCAST. A little brief introduction of how we got started and where we are today in 2020.
It's cool though.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you having you on the show. It's been a pleasure having you on here and chatting it up and talking about music and in the pandemic and different stuff that's going on in the world. Yeah. Do you have any socials, any links to your music or any websites you would like to share to our audience?
I mean, I'm on Instagram as BALLEW and Twitter also, same name. And then my Facebook page is facebook.com/BALLEWITUP. So
okay.
if anybody wants to check it out.
And you're promoting the new track that just came out.
Yeah, Blast Off.
Okay. So check that out. Check Blast Off by DJ BALLEW. Check her out. Check us out at Zombie Squad at www.deadonpictures.com. Check me out on IG at Zombie Squad 211. And check me out on Facebook at Zombie Squad 211. Check us out on YouTube at Dead On Pictures. And I hope that we got your viewership for today. And ring that bell. Give us a shout out. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. And check us out next time. Peace out. Zombie Squad.